Okay, so today, everybody, I want to show you how to make this mosaic granny square uh, tile block. So as you can see, these are actual granny squares. They're in clusters of three, but the middle one we bring down, and that's what creates this awesome effect. So everyone is still clusters of three is exactly how you do regular granny square, but the middle one is in each cluster is brought down to the one below it. So let's get started and show you how to make this. So today I'm using a 5.25 millimeter hook. You can use any hook that coincides with whatever yarn you might be wanting to use, or you can go a little bit bigger to make it looser. I wanted to go with this size. This is nice and fluffy, and I'm going to be turning my pieces into a blanket. Okay. So I decided to not go with the normal pattern. Usually when you see the mosaic, it's usually like the same variation of colors, just from starting from lightest to darker to darker to darker to darker. And that's nice, that's cute, but I wanted to do something a little bit more jazzy. So I decided on these colors. And you'll learn with crochet, you could put any colors together, and somehow once they're all put together, they just work and blend and mesh in so well together. So I have my colors all lined up in a row. I'll be using all red heart colors. This one is saffron. I'm using this is cherry red. I'll be using jade, purple. I think this color is actually called orchid. No, it's called amethyst, and navy blue. So let's start with saffron, and how I start mine. Uh, Once I have my yarn on my hook, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, then I'm going to yarn over, and into the first hole, I'm going to place another a double crochet. Now this chain of 3 right here counts as 1 double crochet. This one is a double crochet, and then we're going to place one more double crochet into the hole. And we're going to chain 2. Now we're going to go right back into that hole and place 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 2 again. 1 and 2. We're going to go right back into that same hole, and we're going to place 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to chain 2 again. Now we're going to place 3 more double crochets into this hole. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to chain 2. 2. Now the start in chain 3, I want you to go in the top of that one and slip stitch. And that's what you have. That is your first row. Now we need to slip stitch to get back to the first hole. So I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then we're going to slip stitch into this hole. And now we're going to chain up 3. Now that we're here, we are going to go and start our corners. Okay, so after we've chained 3, we're going to make a treble stitch. So you're going to yarn over 2 times. You're going to go inside this hole. You're going to go inside this hole right here. Catch your yarn and bring it back up through the corner. You're going to yarn over, take off 2, yarn over, take off 2, yarn over, take off 2 again. Now you're going to yarn over and into your corner. You're going to make a double crochet. And that is how it should look. Now we'll be making a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we want to do that all again into the same corner. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to make a double crochet in the corner. Now we're going to yarn over 2 times and we're going to make a treble stitch around this hole. So we're going to go into the corner and come out through the hole in the middle. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull back out through the corner. And then you're going to take off 2, take off 2 again, and take off 2 again. Yarn over and into the corner. Right here, we're going to make another double. And that will be our corners. So we'll do all of our corners like that. Okay? So once you have done that, we now have nothing but corners on this, so we'll do it again. So we're going to yarn over and go right back into this hole, pull up and do a double crochet. Now we're going to make a treble stitch, and we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to go through the hole in the corner, and we're going to come out the hole in the middle. We're going to catch our yarn there and pull it back through the corner. We're going to yarn over, take off 2, yarn over, take off 2, yarn over, take off 2. Now we have to make a double into our corner. So we're just going to make a double on our corner. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. So again, we want to make a double into our corner. We're going to yarn over 2 times and we're going to make a treble stitch into the center. So go down, grab your yarn, pull up, take off 2, take off 2 again, and take off 2. Now we're going to make a double into the corner. And there's our second corner. So we're going to jump right back into our next corner. And we're going to make a double crochet. So we're going to yarn over 2 times. We're going to go into our corner, but we'll be working into the center. Go through to the center, grab your yarn and pull it back up through the corner and make a treble. And we're going to make another double into the corner. Okay, now we're going to chain 3 again. And we have to do that all over again into our corner. So we're going to go back in and make a double. Yarn over 2 times. We're going to go through our corner and come out through the hole in the center. Grab our yarn and pull back through to the corner and make a treble stitch. And now we want to make one last double into our corner. Okay, and there is our third corner. So we have to make our last and final corner, yarn over, go through the hole, pull up, and make a double. Yarn over 2 times, go through the corner, and come out in the center. Grab your yarn and pull back up through the corner and make a treble stitch. Now working back into the corner, we must make 1 double. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Going back into the corner, we're going to make a double. Yarning over 2 times, we're going to go through the corner and come out in the center hole. Grab our yarn, pull up, and make a treble stitch, taking off 2, taking off 2 more, and taking off 2 again. Now we're going to yarn over and into the corner. We want to make a double. And now we have our 4th corner. So now we have to connect with a slip stitch. So we're going to the top of the 3rd, 1, 2, 3 here. And we're going to slip stitch. Now we have to make it back to this corner. So we will slip stitch in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and into the corner, 3. And that is our first color. Each color will be done 2 rows the same color. So we'll be switching after every 2. So you're going to cut off your yarn here. I will be weaving in ends all later. And just go through the hole and pull through. Pull back. And there we go. We have our first piece done. So now we're going to go to our second color. We're going to go through this hole, get our second color. In my case, it is my cherry red. I'm going to put my yarn on my finger and going to add my yarn. Always go through and then I always make a single. That's just me. I want to make sure my yarn's tight. So we want to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. That counts as our first double. Yarn over 2 times. Now we will be going, you see, for this one we went down into the center. So when you make your 3rd one on this row, you want to go down into this piece right here. So we're going to go down through our corner and we're going to catch it here. Pull up and you're going to make a treble stitch. 2 and 3. Now we're going to make a double. Oh, wait, I'm not trying to work that. Make a double into your corner. And there's our first cluster of 3. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to yarn over and go back into this hole and make a double. Yarn over 2 times. We have to make a treble back around this from our previous row. So we go catch our yarn and make a double. I have someone else in the background who wants to teach as well. Don't you munchkin? Yeah. So make a double now into this corner. And this is how all of our corners will be worked out throughout this whole pattern. It'll be double, treble stitch into the previous row, double into the corner, chain 3, double, treble stitch into the previous row, and double. So now we have created a new middle pocket now. So this is how you work all your pockets. trebles, double crochet into the open space and treble stitch. Now here we had a cluster of 3. You can see that in the row below. So you want to go through the middle one in that cluster of 3 and make a treble stitch. So you're basically pushing that up, making a front post, pushing that forward. Now you want to now you want to double stitch right back into that same hole and make a double stitch. So every middle stitch is going to the row below, directly below. So now we're back at a corner. We want to make a double into the corner. Yarn over 2 times. You want to go through the corner and come out the row from the previous round and grab that and make a treble stitch. And now we want to make another double into the corner. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now we want to go and make another double into the same corner. Treble stitch back on the row below. Tend to bend my work. That helps when you're going below. And we're going to make another double back into our corner. Now we're back at a pocket space. All pocket spaces get 1 double. The treble goes on the middle one of the cluster of 3 below it. Find that middle one, going behind it, pull your yarn up and make a treble stitch. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go back in that hole and make a double. And there you go. Back at another corner, making a double, a treble stitch that goes through the corner and below the one before, the row before it. Catch our yarn and make a treble stitch. And now make another double into the corner. Now we're going to 1, 2, 3, chain your 3, go back into the corner with a double. The row below it is going to get a treble. And back into our corner for a double. And that's our next corner. So now we're back at a pocket again. We want to make a double. Yarn over 2 times. Find our cluster of 3 right below it. Choose the middle one. Go behind it and make a treble stitch. I almost lost my treble stitch. And then go back into the hole up here and make a double. Back at the last corner, we want to go in and make a double. Come down through the corner and catch the row below it. Make our treble stitch. Then we want to make another double. 1, 2, 3 chains. Back into the hole and make another double. Go into the row below to make our treble stitch. and then back into the corner to make our last double. So now we have our last little pocket here. We're going to go in there and make a double. We're going to find the cluster of 3 below, find the middle one, go behind the middle one, and make a treble stitch, taking off 1, 2, and 3, and then we want to make a double back into our hole. Now we're going to find our first chain 3 here. We're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And now we want to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches, bringing us back into that corner. 1, 2, and 3. Now we want to chain up 3, and we'll do 1 more row with this color. So let us chain up 1, 2, and 3. Now, because this counts as our first double, we then want to go into our treble stitches, yarn over twice. Now we will be making our treble into this row right below it. So when you're working your corners, you're always going to make your treble stitch in the row right below it. So we're going to go into this corner and come out here. Grab our yarn, pull up, and make our treble stitch. 2 and 3. Now we want to go back into our corner and make a double. And once we make our double, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going back into the corner to make another double. Yarning over 2 times, we're going to go into the corner hole and come out right here at the bottom of the next row. Pull up and make another treble stitch. And go back into our corner and make a double. It's our first corner. So now we have extra pockets. We have 2 of them, and we work them all in the same way, because now we've already established, here we had to establish where to place ours. Now we'll be placing them on the trebles from the previous row. So now we'll be working with trebles only. We won't have to establish where our trebles go. We only had to do that for the first row. So we'll be going in, making a double. Yarning over 2 times, coming down to the treble from the previous row, and making another treble behind that one. You see? And now we'll be going back into our hole, and we will be making a double. So it's double, treble, double on every stitch. So we're going back, we're going into our next hole. And then we're going to work in with this treble right here, because it's always working with the one right below it. And we're going to place our next treble right with this treble. Now we'll be working our next corner. So we go right into our corner and we make a double. And remember, our treble is going into the previous row. So we yarn over twice, we go through the hole, and we come out right here below it. So now we must go and make a double inside the corner and chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we'll make another double into the corner. yarn over twice, and remember we're going right below, go through the corner and come out here, and we're going to place a treble. Now we're going back into our corner and placing a double. Now we'll be going into our next space. You see it, our space is a 3. We're still working in clusters of 3, but one of the middle one is a treble. So we'll go through there and make a double. Now we want to yarn over twice, and you see it all lines up. We will be working into this treble. And make another treble. Yarn over. Now we'll be coming back to the space and make our double. So our next one, we want to go in the hole and make a double. And you see this treble is the one we'll be working with. And we'll yarn over and go directly down and go behind that treble to make another treble. And then come back up and go through the hole to make a double. Our next corner, we'll go directly into it and make a double. Yarn over 2 times, go down through the corner and come out the bottom of the previous row, and we're going to make a treble. Going through the hole in the corner, we're going to go back and make our double. Then we're going to chain our 3, and we're going to go back into the hole and make a double, and then make another treble around the previous row. And go back into the corner and make another double. We're going into our next hole with a double. Our treble stitch is going to come directly below, go behind the previous treble, and just make another treble. And then we want to make our double right here. Now we're going to go in the next hole and make our double. Yarn over twice. We're going to go down, go through here, and make a treble. We're always dealing with the, start again. We're always dealing with the treble stitch directly below. And then come back in the hole and make another double. Now we're going to go through this hole in our corner and do our regular corner, which is a double, treble stitch into the previous row below. 1, 2, and 3, and then another double. One, 2, 3 we have to chain, and then we're going right back into the same hole, making a double, wrap around the previous row and make a treble, and then back into the corner to make our last double. So now we're going to go through this hole and we're going to make a double. Okay, our treble stitch is coming right here, going behind there, making your treble. 1, 2, and 3. We'll coming back up to our hole and placing another double crochet there. Going into our next hole, we're going to make a double and our treble. Here it goes, right here to this treble, right below it. Go behind it and work your treble stitch. And then back into the hole with the last double. Now we're going to again slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 we started with. And we want to slip stitch in the next 3 stitches to get back to the corner. 1, 2, and 3. And we have completed our 2 rows of reds. We're going to cut our yarn here. Through. Okay, so my next color is going to be burgundy. I don't think I mentioned this color in the beginning, but this is burgundy. So I'm putting my burgundy on. I'm going to go through and attach it. Then I'm going to make a single crochet because I don't want my yarn coming off later on. And then I'm going to chain up 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we're going to yarn over 3 times because this chain of 3 counts as our first double. Now we are placing on the row below right here. So making our treble, we're going to go through our corner and under here. Oh, wait, let's do that again. So we're going through our corner, under here, and grabbing here. And this is where we will make our next treble, and then we're coming back in our corner for our double, and we're going to chain 3, 2, 3. We're going back in for our next double. And our treble, remember, it's going in the row, on the corner row from the previous row. And we're going back into our corner for our double. Now, our corners will remain this way. Our corners will never change. Our corners will always be 1 double, treble into the row, previous row, below, and then another double, chain 3, double again, treble stitch into the previous row below, and another double, all in your corner. All of that is going in your corner every single time you have to make a corner. And the only thing that is changing is your pocket size. Your pocket size is growing with each row, so the more pockets you have, the more times you have to go in it. We are still doing the same thing. Every pocket gets a double, a treble stitch, and another double. So we're still working in our clusters of 3, just like regular granny stitches, squares, but it's just slightly different to give us the mosaic look. So you're always going to be working with the treble stitch directly below your hole. So my hole's here, I'm going to work in here next. This is the treble stitch for that middle stitch. And same thing here, and this is the treble stitch for that one. And here, and the treble stitch. Your treble stitch is always going to be found directly below your where you're working. All right, so now we have to make our next double crochet right there in that hole. And we will make another double crochet here. And we're going to be working, remember, with the treble stitch right below it. And back into that same hole with our next double. So over here we'll be placing a double, into this treble stitch, or in the back of this treble stitch, we're making another treble, and then back into the hole we'll be making a double, and into our corner, remember it's double, treble into the row below, and then another double, and place our three double crochet, three chain three into our corner right there, and go right back in for our double. Okay, now we're just going to go right back into that corner with a double, and now we're back to our little pocket, and we're going to go in and make a double, yarn over twice, come right below to the treble stitch below, and make another treble stitch, and then back up to the top and make a double, and into the next hole I'm going to make a double, and we're going to make a treble stitch right here into the treble stitch right below it, and back into the hole up at the top for a double. And in the next one we're going to make our double into the hole, and we're going to make our treble stitch is right here on this treble stitch at the bottom right below, and we're going to come back into the hole and make our double. So hopefully you get it, cluster of three into each hole. Treble stitch is going to be immediately underneath, and every row after this it's going to be the exact same way. Our corner, go into our corner, make a double, treble stitch into the row below, and back into the corner for our last double. Chain three, 1, 2, 3, go back into the corner and make a double, yarn over 2 times and make a treble, and back into the hole and make a double. Right, and here are our next set of holes, one here, and one here, and we will be making our trebles along these trebles right here. So double crochet, treble stitch directly below the hole, and double crochet back into the hole. Double crochet, treble stitch directly below, and back for our double into the hole. So the next one, we want to make our double, treble stitch directly below, and we want to make another double. And back to a corner, double stitch, treble, going through the corner and below where we want to go. Pull, oh, wait, I lost it. Directly below, and pull up and make our treble. And then a double again. 1, 2, 3. Back into the hole with a double, treble stitch in the previous row. Okay, now we're last hole area. So we're going in this hole, treble stitch here, this hole, treble stitch here, this hole, treble stitch here. So make our double, yarn over, come down, and go back into our hole with another double. Make our next double into the next hole, yarn over 2 times directly below, treble stitch, and then back up for our next double into the hole. And last one in this row, double, treble stitch below, and double again. Now we're going to find our first chain 3. In the top of that chain 3, we're going to slip stitch in there and slip stitch 3 more times to get back to our corner. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain up 1, 2, and 3, which counts as our next double. So we want to make a treble stitch. Look at the row, previous row below, and it's going to go right here in the middle. So go through here and come out below it, grab your yarn, pull back through the corner, and make a treble stitch. Yarn over, make a double into the hole of the corner, chain 1, 2, 3. Now go back in with a double. Treble stitch is going to be in the same place on the previous row. And back into the corner with our final double for that corner. And now this is going to be our second row of burgundy. And as you see, like I said, the rows get wider. We have more holes here. And we'll be working with the treble stitches right below. So do this row, and I'll come back with you for our color change. And we'll keep out the same way we have been. This hole, this one, we're working with this treble stitch. This hole, the one right below it, this treble stitch. And this one, this treble stitch. Okay? So keep working that out. And we'll come back and see how that turned out and move on to our next color. Okay, now I am done with this one. I'm going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 3 we begin with, and I am going to slip stitch 3 more times to go back to the corner. And then I'm going to cut off my yarn and pull through. Now my next color is jade. So I'm going to place my hook, wrap this around my finger. Add my yarn on. Chaining up 3. That counts as a double. And we're immediately going in with our treble stitches, and that is going in the previous row from below. So again, we're going through the hole here and going below that to grab our yarn and pull back through and make a treble stitch. And then we're going to place a double next to that in our corner and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Going back in that hole and making a double. Going back underneath to make our treble. And back into the corner to make another double. So again, we have more holes now. We will always be right below that hole with the next treble. So that's 1 double and then a treble right below our hole. You find yourself going to the side or crossing over to make your treble, then reevaluate and look at your work. I'm going to go right back through the hole to make the last double in that one, and next hole double. Treble is going right here, right below our work. And then our double. So into our next hole, we're going double, treble, it's going right below it. Into the hole again and make another double. Next hole, double, treble coming right below. And make another double. Double, treble, and another double into the hole. So also another thing we notice is we are going in every other, using every other treble. So when we come back around with our next row of the jade, because every color we do 2 rows. So when we come back around, we'll be catching all of the burgundy, the other set of burgundy trebles that we didn't get this round. Okay. So into our corner, we want to double, yarn over twice, going underneath that, treble, into the corner, treble, chain 3, and double again. So you can finish out this row and go back and do your second row of whatever color you're using. Me, I'm going to do finish this row and then go on to my second row of this color, and I'll meet you back here for our color change. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of this color, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 here, and I am going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches to get back to the corner, and 3, and then I'm going to cut off my work and just pull that through the hole. Now my next color is my amethyst. I'm going to add on my amethyst. And once I have my amethyst added on, I am going to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3, which counts as my first double crochet. So I'm going right into my treble stitches. My treble stitch is going to begin on this one, around this one right here from the previous row. And then I'm making a double into that hole. And now we're going to go in our hole and make a double crochet. And our next treble stitch is, remember, going down here where the previous row is. And then we're going to make our double back up into our corner. And that is what our first corner looks like. Same as before. And of course, more little holes, and we're going directly below. So double here. Our treble stitch is going right here, right below where we're working, the hole we're working in. And right here into this hole. And the next one is going into this hole. And our treble stitch is going directly below to this treble stitch behind that one. And we're going back into the hole for our last double. And now we're coming into our next hole, and we're going to make a double. And then we're going to treble stitch into the treble right below. And we're going to make a double here, back up there. And we're going to complete that all the way out 2 rows. And remember, as I showed you from last round, we're working with we're working in every hole, but we're utilizing every other treble stitch. And when we go back around to do our purple again, as you see, we will catch these ones on our second row of purple. Well, or whatever color you're working with. So go ahead and work your 2 rows of whatever color of your choice. And I'll see you back when it's time to make our last and final color change. And for me, I'll be going into my navy blue. Okay, I am coming up to the end on this one. So I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. And I'm going to slip stitch down 3 stitches. So I get to my center here, cut off my yarn, pull it out. And now I'm ready for my last and final color, my navy blue. And I'm going to add this on and chain up 3. Now we've learned our chain 3 counts as our first double. So we're going to go right back into making our treble stitches for our corner. And this right here is where we will be placing that first treble stitch in the corner. Make our treble stitch, a double into the corner, a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, another double in the corner, and our treble is going back in the center of our previous row. And then the last double into the corner. So as you see, more holes and spaces. And from our last row, our purple, first row of purple, and then our second row of purple utilized the rest of the jade color. So with our first row of navy blue, we will be working here. So we will use this one here, and then this one here, and then this one here, and then this one, so forth and so on. And when we do our second row, we'll be going back to the ones that we did not get. And I am making this on my last row. You can continue this out and make a whole blanket or a throw or whatever you would like to with this stitch. It keeps going on as you see in the same pattern. You'll just have more holes to fill in. The corners don't change, and the placement of your treble stitches does not change. It's always the one right below it. So just keep working your piece out as far as you want to. The only thing I would say keep to is you would change colors after every two colors. Even if you decide to go back in and work every color, work every color over again, just change colors after every two color. So after these two rows, I'm going to come back and show you what I'm going to do with this, and that is going to be to place these together because I have made quite a few of them, and we're going to make a blanket, and I'll show you the concept for putting pieces together to make a blanket. But I will see you back after these last two rows. Okay, crochet fam, as you can see, I have finished my block, and I have already made these other blocks. So altogether, I do believe I have 20 blocks. So I wanted to show you what I'm deciding to do with the blocks, and that is to turn it into a blanket. So without further ado, I want to show you how to piece together this blanket. Now, I have a tutorial on joining, and you would join these as you join in any other crochet granny square. No difference whatsoever. So I am going to show you how I join. Now, I already joined the back pieces, as you can see. So the one that we just did, I'm going to use the color that we've already been working with on the last row, which is, for me, is my navy blue. And I have already put these two pieces on, and I'm going to show you how to add the other two pieces and then how to add the line. Now, once you have that down packed, then you can add together as many rows as you want to, as many blocks as you want to, and it'll be a-okay. So to start, we're going to take the two I've already added, and I just want to take, you see, this is the front side, and this is the front side on this one. I want to place them with the backs facing you. So this is the back. So I want the two front sides facing each other. This is the back, and this is the back. Now, all we're going to do, we're going to enter and start joining right here at the corner. So you want to take one corner and then the other corner. Now remember, all of these pieces should match perfectly. And because all of them should match perfectly, whatever we do in the front, we want to do in the back. Now I tend to join mine. We're just going to add our yarn on right here in with both corners attached. Whatever I do in the front, I want to then do in the back. So again, because these are perfectly, both of them, both the pieces should be exactly identical. There should not be a issue in joining. I will put a link in my description on joining because I will not spend that much time showing you here, but I will show you. So once I have it joined in the corners, both of them are joined together, we still work in clusters of threes. Okay, this is three, this is three, this is three, three, and the same thing on the other side. So I want to go in the first one here. So which means I want to go in the first one in the back. Okay, and then I'm going to make a single crochet. You can also do this with a slip stitch, but I like to do single crochet. So I'm going to go in the second one here, and I want to make sure I go into the second one in the back, and I'm just going to make a single crochet. I'm now going into the third one in the front, and I want to go in the third one in the back, and then make a single crochet. And that's how I'm going to join all the way down, going in the first one in the next cluster, the first one in the next cluster, and make a single crochet. So let me show you again the second one here and the second one here, and we're going to bring it out and make a single crochet. And we want to keep going down the line just like that until we get to the corner. So we're just joining with a single crochet. Keep making sure our sides stay matching the front with the back side, because we wouldn't want it to be uneven when we get to the end. And as long as you know which one you're in the front, you just make sure you're in the same one in the back, and it should line all up beautifully with no problems. And the same one here, and joining them together here, and then the same one here, and join them together here, and the same one here, and join them together. So that's all joining is. Like I said, I have a more detailed, slow version of teaching on my channel. I will put the link in my description area, so that way if you need a little bit more than this, you'll have it. So when I decided to make these blocks, I said, oh, what should I do? And I figured, why not make a nice simple blanket? And it's so thick and warm. Sometimes I like to line my blankets with things to get whatever thickness I want, or warmth level I want. And this one just comes with it already packed in. No need to add in anything. So like I said, you keep whatever you're doing in the front. I'm on the second one in that cluster here. Yep, I'm on the second one in the cluster in the back. So every once in a while you want to check. Make sure you're on target, because at the end you want these to line up perfectly, because we're going to end in our corners. And this is how I started each and every last one of these pieces. These pieces that I already have connected, it's 4 by 4. It's going to end up being 4 by 5 when I add this one onto it. But I have 4 pieces going across. So I put all my 4 pieces across together, and then I attach the panels of 4 together. And I will show you how to attach the last panel on when we complete this. And these pieces turned out really, really big. I did not know how big they were going to turn out. I thought I might want to make more, but no, I'm perfectly happy with the size of it. And then once I put my border on, it'll be even bigger. So I'm on my first one here. Now the pieces where you slip stitch at, they will be more difficult to go into because I'm at a one where I've slip stitched here. So you just want to fit it in there some kind of way. Get that in there. second one, my middle one. And because a slip stitch is a little difficult, but even if you go below this where you slip stitched in, that'll be fine. Just want to make sure you have it tight in there. So I'm going underneath the slip stitch. It's a bit of a tussle though. And then we're going to end it in our corner. Okay. So that's how you do it. That's how we put on one add one to the others. I'm going to cut my work here and just pull through and pull tight. Now I have 3 on, and let's put the last one on together. So again, we're taking the back portion here, and we want to make sure we have the back portion here facing out. We want to get our corner lined up with our next corner. Put our hook in. Add our yarn on. And now we want to find the first one here. And find the first one in the back. And we want to make a single crochet. And the next one here. And the next one in the back. And make us another single crochet. Find the third one here and the third one in the back and make another single crochet. And now we want to find our next cluster and find the first one of that cluster and the first one in the next in the back. And again, it's fairly simple. You're just matching it all the way down the line and adding one. Again, first one in this cluster, first one in that one. And that is going to be how we join them together. I think these mosaic granny square pieces came out lovely. Absolutely lovely. First one here, first one in the back. Second one here and second one in the back. Of course, you get good, you just put them together and you can go through front and back together like that, but I don't want to show you that way because I want to make sure you get the one in the back and the one in the front. But when you get good, you can lay both of these pieces flush against each other and just go through both of them at the same time. So, I mean, send me pictures, spam my comments. I'd like to see what you guys have done with your mosaic pieces. I will be doing another video to demonstrate something else to do with them. And I'll use a different color palette. I absolutely love these colors together. And I would love to see what color combinations you put together as well. Only have a few more to go. Just go all the way to your end and I'll meet you back here and we'll put it together going down the long end. Okay, now that we have these pieces put together this way, Now we're going to have to spin our work because our work is awfully big right now. But we want to take the front part, okay? Where we have the front pieces right here. So we want to have fronts, remember, fronts facing fronts, and you're working on the wrong side to put it together. Now we're going to have to do a super spin. A large piece to work with. I'm going to fold this up some. That way it's not too much in the way. And let's bring this piece down here. Yarn tried to get all tangly on me. Where are we at? Here. Okay. I think we're ready to go now. Now with the long end, let's get our yarn on our finger. We want to take our corners, one here and one here, and we want to start on our corners by putting our yarn on our needle and joining it back to our piece. And just as we did with the single pieces, we're just going to take and find the first one here and find the first one in the back, and we're going to work down this row in the same way in which we did the other pieces. Finding the third one in the back, match the one in the front. Now I'm over here, so I'm at the first one and then the first one here, and we're still just matching the front with the back. Matching the front with the same piece in the back. Front with the same piece in the back. So no matter how many rows you decide to put on your pieces, if you're joining them, you should be joining them all when they're the same size, and it should come out with no problems and no complications. The only thing I want to show you, because this is the exact same way as I just showed you, is when we get to a join area. And you'll understand what I mean when I get there. So until then, still matching the front with the back. I'm at the first one in the front here and the first one in the back. The second one and the second one. And the third one. Third one. Right. Make sure our join area, this corner and this corner, make sure everything stays even. We're still good. So the second one. Third one, the first one and the first one, second one and the second one, and third and third. I am coming up to my first corner. Now remember, here we have a lot of corners, so we will not be ending on our corner. So now I come to my first corner, or first corners. So here's my corners, and this is the join space that I spoke about, and how we have a join space. So corner, join space. So I want to go inside the corners and make a single, and I'm going to skip over my join space, and I'm going to go right into the next corner. So that's the only difference I wanted to show you, and make a single crochet. So when you get to a corner space, when you're doing it the long way, you want to go in this corner, skip over your join space, and go right into this corner, and then keep going on all the way out. And when you get to your next corner, you're going to go in your corner and make a single, skip over the join space, and make another single into the next corner, and keep going. And that is the only difference here. So I'm going to finish this on out, and I'm going to come back and show you, or halfway explain to you, what kind of border I'm going to do. Right now I think I'm still figuring it out, but I'm going to show you what kind of border I'm going to do when I finish this on up. Okay, so I have attached my last piece already on. So I want to show you how I have not weaved in any of my ends. I will go back and do that last thing so I could do them all at one time. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to work my border. I have an idea. I think I'm going to flow with it. This piece is big enough for me. So I'm going to take each and every color that I use, and even though on here we went around 2 times, I'm just going to be going around 1 time with each color. And I want to start, I turned it on the wrong side so I could flip this up like this. So, but I want to work on the right side of my piece. When adding your border, you want to work on the right side of your piece. So we're going to go right back in our corner, and I'm going to attach my yarn just how I've been attaching my yarn. And I'm going to work my corners the exact same way in which I worked them when I was working on each individual block. So I'm going to chain up 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and I'm still going to place my treble stitch in the row right below the corner. So I'm coming through there, and I'm going to place it right there and make my treble. And now I'm going to place another double into my corner, and I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going right back into my corner with a double, and then I'm going back down here to make my next treble. And now I'm going back in here to make my double, last double. So that is the same corner that we've been working this whole entire time. Okay, so I'm going to make the same corner that we've been making this whole entire project, no difference. And then I am going to go in my first hole, just how we've been, and I'm going to make my cluster of 3, going to the treble stitch right below that hole where I'm working. No difference in how we've been working our blocks. So then into the next hole, I'm going to do the same thing. And the treble stitch that I'll be following will be this one right here, directly below our hole. and make my double. And the same thing here, working the treble stitch directly below into the treble stitch directly below. And the same thing for the next hole, treble stitch directly below. And so forth and so on, all the way down this line and all the way around the blanket. So every corner will function just as the corners have, as we've been doing, right? Every corner at the corners, because now we have corners that are in the middle of our piece, and I'll show you what I'm planning on doing when I get here. But I mean, the actual corners now are 4 corners. We will be doing them just like this, and everything else falls in the exact same way. Whatever hole we have that we're working on, we're going in the treble stitch directly below it, and completing our double. And of course you can end yours if you've attempted to make this, and you can end yours however you would like. I think I like the keeping with the theme of the whole piece. I think that'll add that extra pop. And if it's not quite as big as I want it to, then I can use this to go around and make it even bigger. But I think 1 row in each color would be great. Down. And we're almost there. Let's see. Now we're at our corner. So now that we have the join space and we've joined them, we have a lot of pieces where we have 2 corners, previous corners, now together in the middle of what our row. So what I want to do is, because when I come back around again, I want to be able to work this just like I'm working this, right? So I have to create, with these spaces, I have to create a double crochet, a treble stitch, and then a double crochet. So I'm going to use my first corner, and I'm going to make a double crochet in my first corner. Now I need to make a treble stitch. So I am going to place a treble stitch around my join. Now this is your join. Okay? I just want to go in wherever you would like. Just pick a spot, and I'm just going inside my join here and coming out the opposite end, and I'm just going to make a treble stitch around my join. Okay, hope you saw that. I'm going to rewind, and I'm going to show you that again. I'm just picking a spot, it doesn't matter, and I'm making, because if you stretch it out, there are spaces in between there. So I'm just going to go in and go behind my join, come out on the opposite end, grab my yarn, and pull up. Now I'm going to make my treble around my join. And then I'm going to make my double crochet, my last one, inside the corner. So we have just created on our join space, the treble, and we use our corners in order to have carry our double crochets. And when I come to every place like that, like here's another one, I am going to do the same thing. I will put a double in here, I will treble around my join, and I will put a double here. So when I come back with my next color, which will be the red, I will be working here and here because I'm only doing one row. But then when I come back with my burgundy, now my space will be here, and I will then capture this one. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. You just do it, come on back out, and when you go back around with your next color, you know you're only going in the holes and working the treble underneath. So when we get to this area, we now have a treble to work underneath. Okay, so when you get there, just do that if you're doing the same thing I'm doing, so that way when it's time for it, you will have a treble to go back into. And then just keep going out, working the treble right below wherever you're working. So, and just keep going out, and you never notice it. Okay, looks good. So I'm going to work this all the way out. I will be doing, like I said, my saffron one row my red, one row my jade, one row amethyst, and then I will be doing one row the navy blue, and that's going to top me off right there. If I decide to do a few more rows after that, then you'll see how that worked up. But it's just like this, the same way we did this, we're going to do a border around here. And do not forget, that's what you do at that spot. Double into a corner, treble around your join area, and double into your next corner every time you get to a corner in the middle of your row area. Okay, so I'm gonna finish mine out with my border, and I'll see you back afterwards to show you my finished product. Hey everybody, I wanted to come in and show you how it turned out, especially with the border. It turned out to be about a queen size. I had to fold up the sides. It wouldn't fit all the way on the table. This piece came out really nice, and I love the border. As well as with the border, I wound up doing, because I was so used to it, so I wound up doing 2 rows of gold, 2 rows of the red, 2 rows of burgundy, 2 rows of the jade, and when I got to the purple, I did 1 row of the purple and 1 row of the blue. And if you look at the joint area where you see the joins, where I told you to go ahead and wrap around the joint, because when we came up to the red, then we had something to grab onto. So that is how it looks. It looks like it's all seamless. It was supposed to be that way. So just right there, you see where the join, where you wrapped around that join area. And by the time you got to the red, you had something to grab in that area. So that was perfect, doing it like that. So that is our finished blanket, the mosaic blanket. And it was carried out with mosaic all the way around the border. And it is super pillowy, super soft. And this was, what, 20 squares? I think I want to try it again, but I want to do more squares in a different color. But I have fun working it up with you. And subscribe and like the video if you like it, and subscribe to my channel. And if you make this blanket, send me pics. I would love to see your color combinations and how your piece came out. All right, bye.